I was 20 years old when I started working for an Italian restaurant near my house. During college summer breaks, I would vacation back home and get much needed time with family. This year, I decided to stay behind and not visit family. This time I stayed here with my roommate named Marcus. We were pretty bored most days, and there was nothing much for us to do. All we used to do was stay in our apartment and play video games. Marcus advised me that instead of wasting time, we should start working a part-time job somewhere and earn pocket money. I agreed with him, and we started to look online for jobs. We found an Italian restaurant nearby who needed a cashier and a delivery boy, so we both went there to apply. We went to the manager, and he offered us the job on the spot. We both started working there regularly. My job was as a cashier, and my friend was the delivery boy there. After about 1 month, my friend requested me to switch jobs, and I agreed with him. We went to our boss and told him that we wanted to switch positions, and he seemed to be fine with that and gave us the okay. Now I was working as the delivery boy, and my friend the cashier. The restaurant had bikes which we would use for delivering food, but I just used my car. One night, around 10 p.m. we got an order which I had to deliver. It was about a 10-minute drive away from the restaurant. Marcus packed the food and handed the brown cardboard delivery boxes to me so I can start the delivery. I took it to my car and put the address into the navigation. I started driving and ended up in an empty parking lot with just a few cars. I checked the order again, and the address that was given was the location the navigation led me to. I called my friend back at the restaurant and told him about it. He told me to wait a bit, and after about 5 minutes he sent me the phone number of the customer. I called him, and he told me to wait for 5 minutes and that he will be there. After about 2 minutes, I saw a man walking to his car in the parking lot, and a bunch of guys came out of nowhere and confronted him. I looked at a notification on my phone for a quick second, and when I looked back up, I couldn't see the man anymore. I had frozen, and then one of the guys looked at me and started coming towards me. I should have gone away, but I was frozen and couldn't move. He approached me and told me to roll the window down, and I did. He asked me, "Are you the delivery guy?" I replied, "Yes." Then he paid me for the food, and I handed the food over to him. Then he gave me $200 and told me to keep my mouth shut. I went back to the restaurant and didn't mention a single thing. It was almost time for night shift when our boss came to me and asked me if I would work the night shift for a small bonus, as the other delivery boy was off from work. I agreed, and now I had to work another shift. I used to sleep late at night, so it wasn't a big deal. We didn't get any orders so far around 1 a.m. Night shift was pretty easy. You didn't have to do anything much. About 30 minutes passed, and then we finally got an order for a delivery. It took around 15 minutes to prepare the delivery, and then they handed it over to me. I had to deliver it somewhere 20 minutes away from the restaurant. When I was almost to my destination, just a couple of blocks away, the navigation took me to a dead-end street, and then to the end of it. There was an old house which kinda looked abandoned. I called back to the restaurant before getting out of my car and told them that it looks like an abandoned house. But they told me to stop wasting time and ring the bell, so I got out of my car and went to the main door. There were spider webs everywhere around the doorbell, so I used my hand to get rid of them and rang the doorbell. I waited for about 30 seconds, and yeah, just as I expected, no response. I was walking back to my car, and I heard the door lock. I turned back and went to the door. I pushed the door and it opened. Obviously, someone opened the door. I went inside and there was no one there. I said hello, and I heard someone from upstairs. I looked up the stairs and there was someone waving at me to come up. I could only see an arm. I went up and the arm vanished. Then I looked around and the arm was waving at me from a room to come inside. It was dark, so I couldn't see the person except the arm. I was not going in there, and I told him/her that. Then the arm vanished, and all of a sudden something hit me. It was that arm of a human. I rushed to the door and straight to my car and drove away. I went straight to the restaurant and told them that. The manager thought I was just sleepy, so he sent me home. Since then, I never delivered anywhere that made me uncomfortable. This happened to me last summer when I was working as a pizza delivery guy. It had been a difficult day for me. I was tired. It was almost nighttime and I had to deliver my final pizza. Of course, this last house had to be old and rugged. I rang the doorbell and an old man came to open the door. As soon as he opened the door, he told me to put the pizza on the table and then grab the money there too. Then we just walked away. I was a little confused. As I entered the house, the hallway was dark and quiet, and had to turn on my cell phone flashlight. There was a table located in the middle of the living room. I placed the pizza there and quickly grabbed the money. Suddenly, the door shut behind me with a loud bang. It sounded like someone was locking it. I was startled and pointed my light towards the door and ran towards it, but the door was locked. My cell phone battery was low and was about to die. I attempted to open the door but couldn't manage to twist the knob. All of a sudden my phone began to ring. I looked at the screen to look and it was an unknown caller. I answered the call to listen to a hoarse whisper on the opposite end. "If you don't do what I say, you're never getting out of here," he whispered. I asked, "Who is this? Do I know you?" "You don't ask questions. Don't worry. I can help you cross soon," said the guy. I asked him what he wanted, but he just said that he wanted to have fun. He informed me to look underneath the table. I did, and noticed a phone there. My cell phone all of a sudden started to heat up, and I threw it down. I got a video call on the phone underneath the table. I answered, and noticed an ordinary guy wearing a mask. I told him, "Let me go, I didn't do anything." He said, "See me the bedroom upstairs." I walked there slowly. My hand was shaking tremendously as I held the phone in front of me. I opened the door and noticed a timer on the side desk to the right of me. "What's this for?" I asked the madman. "That's how long you've got left in this world." He started to chuckle. I disconnected the call and started to look for something around the room which I could use as a weapon. I found nothing. Feeling helpless, I went to the window to find out that they were barred from the outside. Looking back at the timer, I had 1.5 hours. I looked in the bathroom and found a small exhaust window in the upper corner. Of course, it wasn't big. I stood on the brink of the bathtub and turned on my cell phone light, directing it out the window. I waved my hands, hoping for someone to notice me from outside. "Help!" I shouted from the top of my lungs. I didn't stop until my throat was sore, and I couldn't shout anymore. I heard beeping, so I raced to the bedroom to find the clock counting right down to the final minutes of my life. I didn't know what to do. I paced around the room in anxiety until I heard a dragging sound nearing the door. It opened with a creak, and the masked guy entered. He had an axe in his hand. I ran far from him, as far as I probably can. I was cornered. He got close to me with an eccentric snicker, elevating the axe while we heard sirens from outdoors. The beams of red and blue from outdoors hinted that it was the police. The guy retreated and ran from the room. "Open up, police!" I heard them shout. The sound of the door breaking down echoed throughout the house. They rushed to rescue me. I wasn't hurt, however the incident left me traumatized. It turned out that someone had seen my flashlight and heard me yelling for help. They didn't come to help me themselves, but had called the police. Thank God that the police arrived, otherwise who knows what would have happened. I still get goosebumps to this day when I pass by an old crumbly house. The man managed to flee, and the police failed to catch him. They asked me if I could explain his appearance, but I can tell them is that he was wearing a mask. I told them the whole story, and then I left from there. I quit my job the next day and never worked as a delivery guy again.